Welcome back to the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen. Today we're making our version of the ever-popular cult classic, the McRib sandwich. But we're going to give it a little bit of a twist. We're going to make them into sliders, perfect for your holiday parties. Stay tuned, and I'll show you how it's done. We're going to start with a little rib prep. Today we are cooking baby backs. These are Smithfield Extra Meaties. Baby backs are slightly more suitable for this application as they are a little narrower, and most of the time they are meatier than spares. And once we remove the bones from the ribs, it'll make for a nice thick slider. As you would expect, you have to remove the membrane from the back of the ribs. This will make it easier to remove the bones later. Just be sure to remove the membranes as thoroughly as possible from both racks of ribs. Once you have the membranes removed, spritz them with some olive oil. This is simply a binder to help the rub stick, and it'll also help form a nice bark on the ribs. Today we are using Cimarron Docks, as I couldn't find much information on what McDonald's actually seasons their ribs with. I decided a good quintessential rib rub would be the perfect type of rub for this application. Cimarron Docks has a very classic barbecue flavor. In fact, it reminds me of the flavor of barbecue potato chips. Go ahead and sprinkle them on both sides, and we're going to let them sit for about 15 minutes until the ribs begin to sweat. I'm sure you noticed the rub has changed color slightly. Here I'm just touching up the rub in spots that I might have missed. We're going to place them on a rack. And once you have them on your rack, you want to give them just a quick little scrunch. Alright, let's head to the smoker. Throw in our wood chunks. We're cooking with hickory today and shooting for a target temperature of 300 degrees. Then we'll place our ribs on the grate, close the lid, and set the timer for 30 minutes. I must confess I've never actually had a McRib before, as I don't typically eat at McDonald's, but I wanted it to taste similar, so I went there about 3 times this week for chicken nuggets, just for the sauce packets. Okay, let's get started removing the sauce from the packets. Oops, my timer went off. Open the smoker and let's give our ribs a quarter turn. Let's continue with the packets. As I was saying, I have approximately 8 packets here, which will create about 1 cup of sauce. That is more than enough for this recipe. It's been another 30 minutes. Give the ribs another quick quarter turn. And now they've been in for a total of 1.5 hours. The ribs have a nice, beautiful color, and we're going to take them inside where I have 2 pieces of foil laid out for us to wrap them with. Give the foil a quick dusting with our rub. Any chance we have to add flavor, we should. Place the ribs meat side down on the foil. Give them another sprinkle of rub across the bones on the back. Then make a boat shape with the foil, mainly to contain the apple juice. Pour in about a quarter cup of juice. The moisture from this will help steam the ribs, making them tender and juicy. Then wrap them up tight, and once you have them wrapped, let's head to the smoker. Place them on the grate and let them go for another hour and a half. the ribs should be done. But at this point, you want to check the doneness. You can do this by tugging on the bones of the ribs. If they come free, then you know they are done. If they do not, then you can fold the foil back up and place the ribs back on the smoker. With the help of a knife, you can remove the bones easily without tearing up the meat. Now, let's prepare our rolls. Here we have some King's Hawaiian rolls. Remove them from the package and carefully, using a bread knife, we're going to slice them in half. You'll want the bottom side to be a little thicker. That way they can contain any moisture from the ribs and won't become soggy on the bottom. I'm using a half pan and I'm going to coat the bottom with melted butter. Place the buns in the pan, give them a light shellacking of the McDonald's barbecue sauce. I'm pulling these out and setting them on the rack. You could go straight on the cutting board, but I debated on whether or not I should sauce them and put them back on the smoker in order to set the sauce. But they were so incredibly fall off the bone tender, I decided against it. Here I'm coating the ribs with our remaining sauce. And I'm going to remove them from the rack and slice them to fit our rolls. Just cutting the ribs into a nice rectangular piece that should fit perfect. I'll save those end pieces for a little snack tomorrow. Place your ribs on the buns, making sure you don't have any remaining bone thugs in the meat. Perfect. Now let's do a quick cleanup. Here I have some yellow onions sliced into pieces and we're going to spread those across the ribs. I purposefully bought the cheapest hamburger dill slices I could find, as I assume that's what McDonald's uses. But then I decided on half of them to use jalapeno slices instead, just to spice it up. However, I feel like the pickles in the final product were much better than the jalapenos overall. Place your buns back on top, then butter their nipples and sprinkle with sesame seeds. We are placing those in a 350-degree oven, and we'll let those go for approximately 10 minutes. Here is our finished product. Quite frankly, I was a little skeptical when I was developing this recipe, as I didn't think the McDonald's barbecue sauce would really lend anything special to it, other than familiarity. However, I found it was a very non-offensive sauce, and while I thought the sauce by itself was a little too sweet, it actually balanced nicely with the pickle, onion, and bun. While I am certain that the McRib has a ton of money and research behind it, I highly doubt it could match the quality and flavor of these sliders. They are meaty, saucy, and delicious. Thank you for joining us today in the Pig and Whiskey Test Kitchen. Hope to see you next time. And remember, the best way to keep me from hiding under your bed is to subscribe.